It's a bird.
It's a plane!
It's the glute guys.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Glute Guys Network. Today, we're going to make a tier list about beginner leg exercises. So, you could say they're beginner exercises, but really everyone is going to do them. We're going to pop the tier list up in a little bit.
Yeah, and leg day is definitely something that me and Dr. Aaron never skip. It's definitely something I incorporate all the time, and I don't cheat on it.
I definitely haven't been just running and doing other things that have to do with the legs and not as much strength training.
Yeah,
I definitely do these every week, probably 2, 3, maybe 7 times a week. Who knows?
I'm
It's hard to
messing.
say.
I've been better about my leg days. I've been more diligent.
Yeah,
I think.
in all honesty, I do leg days. They're just not the conventional strength training leg days. Like I do more like as part of my obstacle course workouts that I'm doing for the Spartan race. I do a lot of leg exercises. Like a new one I've been doing a lot is chicken walking, which I did in our last video at the end. If you want to see some
Yeah,
great chicken walking, actually that one hasn't come out yet, so stay tuned, people. You'll get to see some chicken walking from me.
by the time that this video is out, that one will be out. So.
All right. That is very true. Yeah. So our last video, I go back on what I said. Now let's hop right into this tier list. So here we
Let's
go.
dive in. All right, Aaron, what's the first exercise we got on the list?
We
It's a
got the
fun one.
leg press right here.
One of everybody's favorites for leg day. It's a really nice, easy exercise if your gym has it. Obviously, if you have a home gym, Aaron, you might not have it, but it is a very good exercise.
Yeah.
Easy to
So
set up. The biggest thing you have to be careful of is just the weight. But Aaron, what were you gonna say?
I will say my home gym does not have a leg press in it, unfortunately. I know we're all devastated. But I do think it's a very good exercise. I don't know if I would say for me it's a S tier exercise, honestly.
I think you
Um,
meant a yeah, buddy.
yes, yeah, buddy. It's not a yeah, buddy. I think it's a oh, man. What gets me on this is like, what's our goal? If we're trying to just strength train and like get really big muscles, or maybe I should say bodybuilding, I actually like it a lot. But as far as function, like maybe an athlete, someone playing a sport, it's not the best exercise in my opinion. You can,
I would say no matter what, even like let's say our general goal is just general overall fitness. I wouldn't say it's a bad exercise. I wouldn't say it's the best exercise you could do for overall fitness. I think it's one of those exercises where it's just like, all right, we're starting to get tired. We need something that's more stable in a controlled, closed chain style environment that like doesn't have a lot of variables. You're gonna get strength out of it for sure. You can definitely get endurance out of it if you want to just try to rep it out like crazy. But you're not going to get a lot of stability, a lot of coordination things with it. So if you're looking
yeah,
at athletic training, yeah, you're not going to get that. But for personal fitness overall, I would say that it's a pretty I would call it an optimal on my end. I don't know if what you would think.
huh. I definitely don't think it's yeah, buddy. It's definitely not as good or meh. I would say it's either optimal or okay. Um, The good thing is it's very available. So if you go to most gyms, you're going to have it. Like you said, probably
Yeah,
not in most home gyms. But I think I agree with you.
I
I
could
think we could
definitely agree.
say,
And
what's that?
see, I was going to agree with you. I was going to say I could definitely like looking at our other exercises that we've got planned out. I could definitely see that landing as in if we're comparing the to all of these ones, I would be okay with it landing in okay. I would say it's a low level optimal or it's an okay one, depending on how you feel about it.
We'll put it in optimal for now, and then we'll
We
think
can
about it
adjust it.
as we go. Yeah.
Sounds good.
All right. Our next exercise, why am I blanking again? The split squat.
Oh yeah, Bulgarian splits.
Yes. Um, so I actually
Ah
do
yeah.
like this exercise. But do I like it more than the leg press? I mean, the good thing is it has more stability, it has more coordination, it has some nice glute activation.
Yeah. I I have to say that like when I'm thinking about my leg day exercises and I'm thinking about ranking them, I noticed that it's the more I hate myself during the exercise is the more I know it's I can tell it's a good exercise or better because I'm not the biggest fan of a leg day. I've learned to enjoy it more so. This exercise is aggressive. It's hard, harder than some of the other ones we have on there. and I want to cry whenever I'm doing them because they're just tough. I would put this as a pretty high ranking exercise personally
So
because you're adding in a lot of factors.
I'm gonna, because of that, I'm gonna actually say I think it's okay because there's so many variables, and we're thinking of beginners. I would actually say this is maybe not the best beginner exercise. Maybe like an
Yeah.
intermediate thing, like maybe have someone with you that knows what they're doing and make sure you're doing it properly. Because I know when I first started lifting, I strained my hamstring doing Romanian deadlifts. Uh,
Hmm.
and then I played basketball right after, and I was running around gimpy, but I still ran. I don't
You
know
did
how I
it.
did it, but I still
You did
ran.
it.
We lost in the playoffs. It was terrible.
Yeah.
So I sort of think okay. What do you think?
I can land that one in okay. For a beginner, I think again it's got a lot of variables that are inside of it, and that which makes it difficult to perform because the setup can be kind of confusing. You got to have your legs set up somewhere. It can be difficult if you start to add more weight to it. You got a balance factor in there. If you're not the most balanced right now and you're still just getting into fitness, it's a very hard one to set up. More so, I would say lean on the side of like maybe a weighted lunge instead of a split squat. You're not gonna have as much glute activation with the lunge, but you're still gonna have similar motions. So
Yeah, so I think we could stick with okay for now. I don't know if I'm going to want to switch that one for beginners. And again, I think to me it's a very good exercise in general, but for beginners, it's a little rough.
yeah, that's a tough one if you're just starting out.
And next, the knee extension machine. We got that guy right here.
For a
Um,
beginner, honestly, overall, good. Knee extension machine is very good for obviously we're working on quads, working on bulking up them. But I think overall it's a good exercise for beginners. Very like slow, controlled environment. The main factors you have to worry about on this one are again just like the leg press. It's the amount of weight that you're doing. You got to make sure you're not overloading yourself too much. So overall, I think I'd land that one in optimal. I think that you're gonna get a good workout doing it. I think it's safe and controlled. You don't have to worry about too many external factors injuring yourself. But I would land that one in there.
yeah, I think it's simple. It's easy. Anyone could really do it. You're probably not going to hurt yourself unless you're dumb. Um, it's definitely a good bodybuilding exercise as well. It's a good way to get those quads bigger.
Yeah.
The main negative to me that makes this so it definitely wouldn't be a yeah buddy is it's not. I like closed chain exercises. So clothes where or exercise where our feet are set on the ground because it's just more carryover to function in daily life. So it'll get your legs stronger, but again, it's such a isolated exercise that it's not going to do a lot for your day to day stuff you have to do, especially if you do like a heavy lifting job or something like that. You don't
Yeah.
really need to do knee extensions for something like that.
No, it's very rare for like functional purposes that you're solely using your quad, and usually they're used in conjunction with multiple muscles and functional movements. So yeah, I can agree with that. Where that's why it wouldn't land me into the yeah, buddy. I like more exercises that involve more than just one solo muscle.
Yeah, so we'll pop that in optimal. Are we going to put that above the leg press?
No, I actually wouldn't put it above the leg press because the leg press to me at least it's using more than one muscle group. You're getting quads, glutes in there as well. And you're also getting lower leg muscles stabilizing the ankles.
Yeah,
So I think that that's better than it because it's got more muscle groups.
I agree. So we'll say left is higher than right
There we go.
for all of our viewers who are confused. Next, we got some hack squats. So in this, he's actually doing them with his back facing the pad. Another
Mhm.
way you can do it is if they have the extension by the hands, you can face the other way. And I always found that facing the other way was more comfortable, but it wouldn't work unless you had those extensions. So that's something you have to be
Yes.
careful about. For me in particular, I never liked these, but I also didn't have the best depth when I used to use these in the gym. Um, it's also one of those exercises that doesn't necessarily let you use your body the way your body wants to go. It more does what it wants to do. So it's sort of similar to like a Smith. I can never say Smith machine squat.
Smith machine.
Smith machine squat. It's similar
Yeah.
to a Smith machine squat in that I don't like how it puts you on a bar path that might not necessarily be the best for your body, especially as a
Yes.
newbie.
Yeah, it can get kind of a little confusing and complicated. It doesn't really have, like you described, like a path that would be desirable for everybody's body. Obviously, someone who's taller is going to have a different path than someone who's shorter for a squat. I always felt like depending on your gym, every hack squat I've seen over the years, I found one that I liked. It was actually at Seton Hall's gym was the only one I ended up liking.
Yeah,
Um,
me too. I like
and
that
now,
one.
yeah, because it gave more like room for the legs to go out. You just have more variable control. Every other gym, I feel like that foot plate that you're on is like just so much smaller. So there's just not enough room sometimes I feel for the positioning that I prefer during squats. So I don't necessarily think it's bad. I think for beginners it's definitely it's a decent exercise to do. In comparative to like some of the other ones that we have up there, I would still put that probably above the knee extensions. I just don't know if I'd put it above a leg press.
So you're saying
Similar
optimal?
motion. I think it's going to land in optimal for me still.
I mean, yeah, it's still good for a beginner. It's just very
Yeah,
simple.
because
You just
it's
put yourself on there. You can definitely get hurt, but I don't think it's as. Hmm. I think we could put optimal, but low optimal.
I would put it below the leg press, above the knee extensions is where I think that one lands.
I honestly might put it over here. Oh, wait, not there. Over here.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see why too, just because the extra variables in it can also make it a little bit more complex and a little bit more
Honestly,
advanced for a beginner.
for me, some of it is just about the feel of it. I mean, look at this platform that this guy has here. Like that's like a toothpick. He could barely even fit his
Yeah,
feet on there, and his feet are so narrow. Like I would not do the hack squat like this. Like why would you do
no,
your
that
feet
one's
together during a
machine
hack
dependent.
squat? Well, I just meant
I mean,
specifically that. Oh yeah, I guess that's because of the foot plate. Well, whatever.
yep,
This
still, but it's
we picked a terrible picture.
but no, it shows realistic expectations of a hack squat in a gym. Sometimes they are just a pain in the ass.
Yeah, very true. I guess we should go right into the next one, some squats.
An all-time favorite.
Yes. So I think I know where this one goes for me already, but it's very
Just
functional. You
put it
for
exactly where you think it belongs. Before we just, reading your mind. Yeah, thank you. We need next exercise.
yeah,
Anyway,
squats. When do you use squats on a day-to-day basis? Every time you stand up from the chair. Yeah, so
every
that's
time you sit
pretty
in the
good.
chair.
I would still tell any beginner to start very light, like anybody. Like you have to start with a very light weight and get used to the form. If you don't have a
Yeah.
barbell, you can also do it with like a kettlebell or dumbbells. Just
Hmm.
holding them right in front of you, even holding them by your sides.
Yeah.
Um, there's so many variables you can use to progress it, to make it easier,
And
to
even in
make
a
it
beginner, you
safe.
can even just start with body weight squats just to start to work on the form first. When it comes to an
Yeah,
exercise like this, I love it. I think it's great for a beginner, but I think one of the number one things that you need to kind of focus on is the form. So start out with no weight if you're really that beginning of a beginner, and then work your way up onto weight.
yeah. Like I was saying, like very lightweight. You can even start with like a box squat. So you put a box behind you and sit onto that and stand up from it,
Mhm.
just to get really used to the technique. Um, I know when I learned squatting, I actually learned box squatting first before I did normal squatting. And I
Mhm.
hated box squatting, but it's actually a good exercise. It makes sure you know how to use the proper technique. Um,
Yeah.
because if you normal squat, a lot of people will just bend at the knees and do a little funky thing, and that's not always the best. I mean, of course, like we know the knees over toes isn't a bad thing anymore, but I still probably wouldn't just put all weight on the knees for a squat either.
Yeah, no, no, no. And when it comes to this one, when you start to work up to more weight, warming up the muscles is also important too. You want to make sure that you don't just throw all of the weight that you have that you want to use for the day on the first squat. You work your way up, warm it up.
Mm-hmm. All right. Next, uh, Romanian
I love the
deadlifts,
next three.
the stiff leg
Um,
deadlift.
I personally, one of my favorites. I think that it's also good for a beginner. You can start with, you can do same thing. You can do dumbbells. You can even do No weight, you can do the barbell. There's so many different variations to this one. I think when performed correctly, it is a great exercise. I prefer this one over a conventional deadlift personally. I don't know why, it just feels more natural for me. Everybody's posture is a little bit different. I feel everyone's stance and form is a little bit different. I feel like this feels more natural to me than a squat and a conventional, so I'm gonna put that up there with the yeah, buddy.
Interesting. See, I almost feel like it should be. Wait, not there. Go here. There. The top of optimal. And the only reason I don't think it's yeah, buddy, is I feel like you can, with a conventional deadlift, you can just rip up some weight if you're a beginner and do okay. I feel like if you try to do a RDL and just go real heavy on those, you can hurt your back. I mean, then again, you can with the normal deadlift too.
Yeah, see, I would put both conventional and an RDL up with the yeah, buddy, just because of um, the functionality of it is my thought of it. I mean, you don't have to do heavy weight with it because, of course, there's going to be more of a back strain with it. I'd put both of those up there in the yeah, buddy, just because they're functional. Think about how many times you drop something on the ground. Sometimes you're doing like a knee bend if it's heavy. Sometimes you're doing just a straight back bend or
Yeah.
hip hinge to go and pick it up too. So I think it's functional with many different jobs and everything too.
There is a video with Robert Oberst. I think Oberst is how you pronounce his last name. Have you ever heard of him?
The name sounds familiar.
He's a pretty famous strongman. I don't think he ever won World's Strongest Man, but he did very well in a lot of competitions. He was in World's Strongest Man a bunch of years. And he was basically saying how he doesn't think deadlifts are a good exercise for anybody because you're just going to hurt yourself. But it's just like, it's such a functional exercise that it's sort of ridiculous to say that. Like, you're going to have to do it throughout the day. Like, you have to pick up a box, you're doing a deadlift. You have to pick up anything, you're gardening, you're going to do at least a deadlift type motion.
Or a squat. They can be semi close in motion, of course.
Yeah, but like even just thinking of the Romanian deadlift, like that is like perfect, like stooping down to do some gardening or something like that.
Yeah. When performed correctly, I think it's a great exercise. Especially you just need to. It's all about stability. Form is key with all of these leg exercises. When it comes to an RDL, squat, conventional deadlift, core stability, tightening up the core, breathing while you're doing it, so this way you don't go and throw
But don't you
the
think
back
that
out.
isn't that almost arguing for our buddy down here, the split squat?
That one adds an extra key of single leg stability, is why I
Yeah.
think that one lands in the okay portion.
Mhm.
Only because I think that factor I think you're at a little bit more of it's like a difficult exercise. It's
Yeah.
you're on one leg. I think that's what makes it more difficult for a beginner. Great exercise. If we're talking about for advanced leg days, that one would also go up in the yeah buddy as well.
Mm-hmm.
And in my advanced leg days, I would throw the knee extensions down in the meh.
Yeah. I mean, I still think it depends for advanced. Like advanced, like, it depends what field you're in. Like if any athlete, or I should say any, like ball athlete, for lack of a better term, like knee extensions are useless. Any like strength training athlete, actually not any. Bodybuilders, knee extensions are important. Actually, other than that, most strength training athletes don't need knee extensions if you really think about it. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's why it's like I just don't think it's that great. I think you can opt for other exercises over that one as an advanced trainer, but that sounds like a video for another time.
All right, next exercise, the hamstring curl. I am not the biggest fan of this. It's sort of similar to, I guess, the knee extension, in that it is a good exercise for beginners because it's just so easy to do. But it's also just like, if I'm going to train my hamstrings, I'd rather just use a deadlift or RDL, just because it's feet planted on the ground. It's more functional for day-to-day life.
Yeah.
You're going to get some nice big old hammies if you do it. But to me, for a beginner, I'd rather them just focus on these. Like, you're even just doing these 3 exercises in one day in the gym for a beginner is going to all you need to do, really, honestly. And you're going to be sore the next day too.
Without a doubt. I personally I consider this a lazy exercise in a way. It sounds sad saying it's a lazy exercise, but I just feel like it's almost sometimes just, an easier one to do. It's good. Like in that sense, it can be good for beginners, but I just think, like you said, like even as a beginner, I think there's just better choice in exercise that you can do versus a hamstring curl.
So what do you think? Where would you put it?
I feel almost bad contradicting the knee extensions as I say it. I would put this one in okay. Like
Yeah, I'm almost borderline meh.
that's what I was thinking too. I was almost gonna say meh, but I was like maybe it does. I rarely do it. Even when I was a beginner, I would rarely touch it. I would do it at the end of my exercises just because I was like, oh, I need to do one more, and I guess this will count.
This one just
But I
makes
also
me
feel like my
feel.
form is just like I don't know, just like the form on those machines are never the greatest, and I just think that you can choose a better exercise.
This just makes me feel meh. I don't
Yeah,
like it.
just the
So
idea of just saying like I was just like like, I guess it's okay. It was kind of a meh of an answer. So
yeah. Let's go right into some heel raises or calf raises, whatever you want to call them. I actually like calf raises a lot, um, but that's more of a personal thing because my calves are decently strong, so I just like doing them because they feel nice to me. As far as how beneficial they are to each person, they are a closed chain exercise, like we were talking about before. So it does work on your ankle stability and your balance a little bit. That is the one
yeah,
good thing about these compared to all these other exercises, the only ones that really work on your calves. Which, hey, maybe we should have thought about that.
yeah. No, but not necessarily. It's like okay, so it's working on your calves, but like this also goes into the same idea as like the hamstring curls. Like, don't get me wrong, I love doing a calf raise too. Like, it feels good getting the calves going like that. Um, Again, I would just pick an exercise that involved more, even for a
so,
beginner. Right? Like, you're not gonna get break a sweat by doing calf raises. I look at this as like an accessory exercise, is what I would call it. Like, in the sense that like you can do this in between doing exercises, one or the other. So I wouldn't just solely pick this exercise like, okay, my next exercise is going to be calf raises. I think I would mix this in with something.
so what would you want to put this into?
I'd put that one into meh as well with the hamstring curls.
So I wouldn't, and the only reason I wouldn't is because when we're beginners, we want to feel the gains right away, and that'll make your calves all pumped up, and you'll be like, "Wow, my calves are looking nice."
The highest that I'll barter with you on this one going is going in the okay section.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Okay, I don't think it's much more than that when I really think about it. Now, if they had the sitting down calf raises, I'd put that as not as good as others.
That's the only reason why I was just like, all right, he's doing them standing, holding on to something. I even don't mind the leg, which if you're on like the leg press, and you have all of that weight on there, and you do calf raises. All right, a little bit more advanced. You got to be
Yeah,
careful. You don't lock your knees out, but you do like the edge of the foot plate, and you go up and down with it.
even the hack squat. I've used the hack squat before and had my toes on the edge, and then just some heel raises there as well.
Yes, so I can see why they can also be good, but that's why I like them as an accessory exercise. Throw them in when you're doing one of the other exercises that we
Mm-hmm.
just named.
Now, our last and final exercise, the lunge. So,
I I think it's a great exercise.
yeah, I actually think that the lunge is a lot safer than
Okay.
the whatever this thing is called that I'm blanking on.
The
Help
hack
me out.
squat.
Hack squat?
Oh my God, the split squat.
Yeah, the split
It's
squat. That's
almost
what it is. I
it's
just
late after work, so sometimes my brain likes to just misfire.
the split squat's not my favorite for a beginner, especially because your foot is elevated. It's not really as natural as just doing a lunge. Like a lunge is almost like a part of running, sort of. And there's a lot of
Mhm.
times throughout the day, like sometimes instead of using a deadlift to pick something up, we actually do a lunge or something like that to pick something up. Um, it just seems a lot more natural and a lot more doable. Even like, you're on the football team, you're taking a knee. You might have to take a knee for something. You might go to church and take a knee for
Kneeling
the
at
for
church
for
too.
the
Yeah,
old G man upstairs.
kneeling down to tie your shoe.
Kneeling down to tie your shoe. Like there's a lot of functional things that a lunge will encompass. And similar to the body weight squat, you can do it body weight lunges like this guy. You can do it with some weight, dumbbells, back squat. I actually just got some sandbags. And
Now we're getting fancy.
oh yeah, it's for my, of course, my obstacle course workout, so I can make them tougher. One of them's around like 50 to 75 pounds, and one of them's around like 100, 120 pounds, somewhere in there. Uh,
Well,
so I haven't really picked up the 120-pound one too much because I got it, or I actually put all the sand in this morning, and my hamstrings were so sore from my workout yesterday that I could barely move. So I was not too functional when I tried to pick that up. But long story short,
it happens.
well, yeah, lunges, I love them.
I think that for a beginner, like you said, safer than the I keep almost wanting to say hack squat. The
Split
split
squat.
squats. Thank you. Yeah, safer than the split squats. I would put them up in the air, buddy. I think that they're a very good exercise. I think that they require just the right amount of stability. Like you said, you can do them um, unweighted. You can even do them with support. Like if you have trouble balancing and you're someone who's that new to fitness that you can't really balance yourself so well, grab onto something at the gym that you can kind of have stable. And you can do lunges just like that too. Very good exercise. It works out multiple body parts or multiple muscle groups in this one.
Now that we've gone through all of them, are there any that you would want to change?
Um, I would maybe bump the knee extensions down to okay, low level or like lower mid level okay. But otherwise, I think it looks good. What do you think? Would you agree with that?
I agree with that. Yeah, I just moved it down too. It's funny because like all of these exercises aren't bad exercises. It's just like for a beginner, they're just trying to get stronger, get themselves moving a little bit better. I think
Mhm.
the basic compound movements are probably the best ones to learn first and go into. Then
Yeah, they're
after you've
staples.
gotten stronger with those, yeah, then you start doing some of these other things to help optimize and really stress those things. Like, and figure out too, like, what are your goals? Like, do you want to go into bodybuilding or do you want to go into like a CrossFit or strongman? Do you want to do a Spartan race? Like, whatever you want to do is going to sort of tailor where you want to go with all these things.
Exactly. And I think that that's important to think about too. Especially as you start to get more advanced with exercises, you'll start to see and notice a lot of the advanced exercises actually encompass the form and function of the compound exercises. Those compound exercises, the reason I said they're staples is because they kind of um, are starting points for other advanced exercises when you start to branch out to more complex stuff. You can mix these compound motions into other ones.
And if anybody's interested in us just going over different workouts for different types of training, like strength training or obstacle course race training, we can make some example workouts. Just let us know what sport, what type of lifting you want to see, and then we will
Yeah,
go from there.
definitely, definitely.
I think that's probably it, sir. You have anything else to say?
No, I think that covers it. I just focus on form, be safe. Don't try to lift all of the weights in the gym in one day.
Don't do drugs. Have a nice night, everybody.